Hey friends, this is episode 3 of The Trust. It's been a few weeks since we published our last episode, and I'm sorry about that. I've been traveling, and I fell a little behind on production, but we're back on schedule. Today, we're going to talk about temptation. What should you do when temptations happen? Let's find out together. You're listening to The Trust, the podcast of the SDDC Unit Ministry team. I'm your host, Brad Cattleman, and we are glad you have joined us today. I hope this energizes you, edifies you, and may you experience God's blessings. Have you ever been tempted? Of course you have. Our world is full of temptation. Now, I don't necessarily mean the big temptations, the spam. You ever heard of spam? I'm not talking about the canned pork product. That stuff is awesome. It might be a temptation. It's not great for the heart of the waistline, but it's yummy. Soul food. Now I'm talking about the other spam. SPAM. Sex, porn, alcohol, money. Now, those are the biggies, and when you're tempted with those, it's so obvious that it's going to lead to big trouble that it's easy to avoid for most of us. But today I want to talk about the less obvious temptations. The little ones, the ones we face every single day. Now they can seem benign at first and no big deal. Can you think of any? I can think of a bunch. How about cheating a little on a test? How about leaving a little late and driving extra fast to work? Or Facebook. Checking out Facebook for that last half hour of the day or that hour of the day. I mean, no one's gonna notice an hour, right? Maybe it's cutting out early, taking a long lunch, seeing how long you can push it by showing up late, seeing if anybody will notice. Maybe it's just a little flirting here and there. Maybe it's little white lies there. Maybe it's skipping out on sleep to stay up late and binge watch just one more episode of House of Cards on Netflix. Or just one more game of Candy Crush. Or how about just one more chocolate frosted donut with sprinkles? You already had one, but one more can't hurt, right? Lots of little temptations face us every day, and at first glance, it really does seem like they're harmless, doesn't it? You know, the book of James has a good word about temptations, and I think we should read it together. This is James chapter 1, verses 13 to 17.
When tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me. For God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. Don't be deceived, my dear brothers and sisters. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows.
Did you catch how those little temptations may actually be a big deal? Little temptations can be a slippery slope because of where they come from. Temptations come from
their own evil desire.
Temptations come from our own evil desires. Now, evil desires at first seems like a pretty strong thing, but I want to suggest it's simpler than that. Because evil desires means any time we're thinking of ourselves first, instead of God or instead of other people. It's when we put ourselves first. It's when we ignore that commandment to love our neighbor as ourselves, or to love God with our heart and our soul and in mind. And instead, we start loving ourselves. Now, I'm not talking about being an ascetic. I'm not talking about denying yourself or living in a cave or being a hermit, not eating or any of all those other extremes. What I'm saying is, look at that progression. We focus on ourselves, or we let the temptation come from our desire for self, our evil desires, and those evil desires give birth to sin, and sin leads to death. Can you see how those little temptations can be bad? So what should we do? Well, you could avoid them, you could stay away from them, or when you see them, focus on others. Focus on what's good. Focusing on loving God with all your heart and your soul and your mind, and loving your neighbor as yourself, because bad desires equals death, but good desires, those are from God. and God is good all the time. This has been episode 3 of The Trust. This was produced by me, Chaplain Brad Cattleman. The magnificent John Arell provides the voice of the Bible. If you have anything you want us to discuss, send it our way. We hope you have a blessed day, and never forget, we are trusted professionals, but trust in the Lord with all your heart, soul, and mind. God bless you all.